Cisco Secure Workload, incident response, network focused. So we've got an incident and it states that there's some critical data that may have been accessed from a sensitive system. And we need to determine if an FTP connection took place and if data was transferred. Now, in my example, it's an internal FTP server that we actually connect to. And you might say, well, why not go there and check the logs? Well, we could, but an IP may have changed. I want to see it at the workload level, evidence that the data had been transferred. Again, this could be an external system and we wouldn't have access to the logs. So let's dig into figuring out whether or not data was actually exfiltrated from that specific asset to that FTP server. Let's see evidence of that. All right, we're on the workload that we're concerned about, and we're going to actually do that FTP connection live here. So we're going to go ahead and connect to that internal host. Remember that this could be an external host and they're exfiltrating data. So we'll go ahead and log in here, do an ls. We'll go ahead and change directories here, and we'll go ahead and just pull down that PowerShell for the Secure Workload agent install. Again, we don't care too much about the data, not at this point anyway, but in our investigation, we need confirmation that this actually took place. All right, so it's roughly 6:42-ish. So let's go have a look in Secure Workload. What can we find here? How can this help us? Well, we can go to traffic and we can investigate from here. And we can investigate on multiple different attributes. In our case, we're going to look for provider address, and it's the 192.168.255.100. And here it is. There's the actual metadata of the connection that took place. We see the consumer address, which is our workload, our provider address, which is that FTP server. We see FTP being used here. We see the flow start time. And as we continue to scroll across, we can see the process ID. We can see the server round trip time and a number of packets sent and received, and including the bytes that were transferred. Now we have evidence that the workload itself actually made the connection. We know it's this workload here. And so that's going to help us in our investigation. Now we can also look at this as in a JSON file as an example here and get that data and parse that data and use that in other tools as needed. Now again, when you're analyzing, you might be looking for very specific data points. So you would parse those specific data points. But pretty cool. Definitely helps us truly understand that the connection took place. And again, here's another visual of that connection, just kind of summarized there. That's it. Pretty easy. We jump into the actual host itself. We can actually look at interfaces. We got processes that happened and snapshots that took place. And look at this here as we look for FTP, and we can search this instead of trying to find it here. Go ahead and hit FTP. We can see that highlighted there. And here's the actual command that was entered in at the asset or workload of concern. Again, parent process ID. You've got a SHA here. So if this was a binary of concern, we can actually do a quick search in VirusTotal, grab that data, do a search. This is FTP that's built into Microsoft, so it's safe. But if it was something that was suspicious or malicious, we can certainly identify it here.